Create that energy. Let's go. I'm Kat, and this is Brenda, and you are watching Babes Unscripted. Hello, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Today we are here with an extra special guest, Ms. Wanda, also known as Salty Coffee.
Coffee, yes.
Hello. Wanda was born in Brooklyn, New York. She grew up in Washington Heights and currently resides in the Bronx. For the past 34 years, she has been working as an undergraduate housing coordinator at Columbia University. And apart from her professional role, she's also an activist, particularly focused on women's rights. And she's a proud mother of 2 wonderful adult daughters. And she also holds certifications in OSHA, has a degree in labor urban studies from CUNY Queens College, and has also been appointed a notary public by the state of New York. In her free time, she also enjoys hosting a podcast.
Yes, and she is a babe. You are a babe. Look at you. All the accolades.
Super babe vibes.
Welcome.
Thank you, Kat and Brenda.
Yes, so happy to have you here. So I wanted to start off with the way that we know each other. The universe does its magical thing and brings people together in wonderful ways. So I used to be a part of an organization called Landmark, which is a self-development organization. And I met this beautiful woman named Ruby Thomas. And just the universe kind of made things happen where she actually hurt her knee. And out of that negative thing, I saw her hurting her knee and I reached out to her. And then I hurt my knee and I asked her for some tips and we started reconnecting again after some time of being away from that organization. And then I got into the world of Tony Robbins and started a group called Podcast Babes, where women come together and help each other create and promote podcasts. And I decided to have El Ruby join because she has an amazing podcast. And then she was like, I'm going to invite my fabulous friend Wanda, also known as Salty Coffee, and the rest is history.
Yes.
Her story.
So I just want to thank you. I want to start off by thanking you for being such an amazing member of Podcast Babes, seeing your face there on our weekly meetings and just the way that you hold space and your little affirming head nod that you do really just yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So it's just it's great to have you, and you've just been so amazing. One of my favorite things about you is that you love empowering women, and I'm all about empowering women, and so you're all about that too. So can you tell us a little bit about some of the ways that you empower women?
There's a lot of ways. Sometimes what I've learned at 54 is that the first thing, in order for you to empower other women, you really have to learn how to do it for yourself first. So, because it makes no sense to try to go out there and tell them, well, you need to do this. And, our previous generation, I think it was generation, the silent generation or baby boomers, which was our parents. They're like, this is what it is. And need to do it. But looking at my grandmother, my mother, they did things, they just did it because they had to do it. And it's a survival mode kind of thing. But what I've learned with my mother was that you really can't be a good mother if you never had that or you really can't be a good sister or friend if you really don't know how to be one. So empowering other women to me means like I really had to learn how to be a good person. I didn't have to learn how to do that. I was just born like that. But I think sometimes we lose ourselves. For me, particular, I lost my mom when I was 19, so I don't know how to be like an adult woman, like because she wasn't there for me to learn, that part. The only thing I learned from her was how to be a good student, to get a good job, to go to college, and stuff like that. But I love to empower people who are not aware of their rights living in this country, specifically women of color, Black women, um, people who come from other countries. And I learned a lot through COVID. So, and through the death of my mom, that a lot of people just were not aware of things. They're going through the flow because they're being told what to do and how to do it, like school and college or work. You fill out all these paperwork and you're not realizing what you're filling out. You take your kids to the hospital to give birth. You don't know what that is all about either. And you don't, and in reality, you don't have to do that. You do know that, right? So that's the part that I love about giving the example of who I am and being who I am. And that to me is like empowering others. Like, I don't care. You can do it. I did a kickboxing class one time and I was like, I'm not doing planks. I'm not doing sit-ups. I'm not doing push-ups. That's just not something I could do. And they're like, it's in the mind. You have to learn how to switch that. And once I did that kickboxing and was able to do 5 minutes, a 5 minute plank, I was like, wow, I really could do it. So with anything else, that's what I want to show other women that, you know, it doesn't matter if you have a degree. It doesn't matter if you just be a good person, and just keep it moving. You could do it.
Yes.
Wow. Like I was the first thing that pops into my head is like how amazing you are, especially because you've experienced such a loss at such a young age. That's one of the things that it's constantly on my mind. It's like, how am I going to handle my mother's death? Because I love her, right? I love her so much. And even sometimes we have disagreements, but you you love your mother. And so what helped you, or how did you navigate through that loss at such a young age?
The good thing about the relationship between my mom and I is that we had a good relationship. So I had to learn how to appreciate and be grateful for that relationship. And to me, she never really left. She's still here. And I think that's what we want to give our children. So when you have children, just make sure that you remind yourself it's about the memories. It's about the memories that you create with them. It's not about they're never going to remember what you gave them for Christmas 2 years ago. They're never going to remember what you bought them to wear for their first communion or anything like that. They're never going to remember that. So it's important to remember experience. And this year for me, 2024, is about that with everybody. I want to engage in experiencing things with people and not giving a gift. I'm going to give the gift of experience.
Yes.
But with my
Love it.
mom, that's what got me through it. And it was a struggle. Like, I was homeless. I didn't have anywhere to go. I didn't really have people to guide me properly until I started
Mhm.
working at Columbia. And it's amazing the people you would find that will help you that are not family. It's like, and
Mhm.
that's what I love about the podcast, Babe, because we don't know each other. We didn't do a background check. You didn't do a back. You're just like Miss Ruby said. So
Mhm.
I trust Miss Ruby. But it's amazing when women who do these kinds of things get together because like this wasn't around when I started podcast. My God, I'm still learning. Even though it's been almost 5 years now, I'm still learning. I'm still learning
Mhm.
how to run a podcast. And everybody is an individual. But going back to my mom, uh, I had to really tell myself, because for a long time I blamed myself for her death.
Hmm.
So through therapy, that's when I had to like really learn like this is not your fault. Um, you didn't know what the doctors, were gonna do. You just translated. They should have never had a kid translate for a medical procedure.
Right.
So the things that happened to me with my mom are the things that I fight for women, working women, you know. And
And that's amazing. And I want to commend you for seeking out therapy. Like I'm not sure if you did it on your own. You personally said I need to go to therapy because especially in the Latin community, that's something that, till this day for a lot of my close family members and friends, I always, tell them like, you should try therapy. And I get the negative thing, like, oh, the response, like, oh, that doesn't work. Even the therapies, of course, therapists need therapy too. They're human, right? But I'm such an advocate for therapy. Like I had a therapy session today. Like I still have my therapist, right? That I talk to, and she helped me out a lot because I had a situation with my daughter recently where I'm like, I don't, I know how to navigate, but and old Brenda would have lashed out. I would have done the Latina thing where like, oh no, 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 trying to control. But, I reached out to her and I said, I don't know what to do. Like, should I do this? What should I do? And then should she help me navigate through it? And I just, I praise you for actually taking that initiative to seek out for therapy. And I wanna like tell the listeners, especially when you're, a minority, it's okay to have a therapist. And right now, like there's so many venues and ways that you can get therapy, for free or at cheaper price, but you just have to be open to it.
so the difference, however, between your generation, I don't know if you're a millennial, but
No,
or
I'm not a
you're
millennial. I'm
you're
Generation X, so I'm like
also,
exennial.
but I
So
think
that's like
I'm
that new
still
thing.
on the beginner side of it because I'm
Hmm.
54. So there's a big gap between that because there was no therapy
Correct.
for me at 19. There wasn't. There was a high school
Hmm.
counselor, college counselor, and they don't know jack about
They
anything.
help you do anything. They
They don't
stress
even
you
help you
out.
on how to
They
get to the
have they
next level. Yeah,
they
thank
stress
you.
you out. Like, why aren't you doing this? Like,
So it wasn't until I experienced something very tragic at work for the third time, where I didn't even know what was going on with me when these things would happen. And
Mm.
then as an adult in my late 40s when I started, because I didn't even go through therapy with my divorce. I didn't have any outlet or anything. There was no podcasting. There was no like
Mhm.
it was like maybe Yahoo chat or something, and you go into there and start dealing with people that you should have never dealt with before.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's the most difficult part because it took all of this time. Like I went through everything, and now I'm realizing, wow, that was wrong. I should have never gone through that by myself,
Mm.
no guidance. But I made it through because throughout the whole time, my mother was there with me.
I love it.
I think that that's such a beautiful way to think about it. And my favorite thing about you is that you took that obstacle, you took that pain and you turned it into power. And you actually do something really amazing in honor of your mother every year. This is
Every
my
year.
first year that I listened
I
and
love
tuned
it.
in. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do?
So when I started the podcast was in 2020 through COVID, and as an activist for workers, workers' rights, um, I experienced a lot of people. Everybody always contacted me about the contract, how to interpret it. What can I do with this? How can I navigate that? What do you how did you experience this before? And I love it because I tell people always remove yourself from the contract and stick to what's happening in the incident. So in 2020, uh, we had to stay home. So people were like, "Where are you?" And they only knew my work number. They only knew my email. So I was like, you know what? Let me just start a podcast now that I'm home and making extra money. Let me start a podcast. And I was like, you know what? Let me start a website and put all the resources in there so everybody could just have one place to go in. And then I said, you know what, April, my mom was in a coma March 31st of 1989, and they declared her, deceased and had to pull the plug on April 12th. And then COVID happened around that time in 2020. So I was like, what can I do outside of the real world, in the virtual world, to get women to get together and empower each other? And how can I include my mom's, uh, you know, legacy in there? Because my mom is my everything. Um, I did the poetry contest. And so the first poetry contest, I had, I think, only two people or three people who, enrolled and registered, because I didn't have there was no StreamYard, it was just Facebook. It was just co-workers and family. And this little girl from Ecuador joined the poetry contest, and she was 9. And then Elizabeth, who's one of my good friends, she also did it. So the idea of the $200, I can get into that later, but they both, got enough votes. The little girl from Ecuador got 300 votes, and I was doing them through text.
So
So,
cute.
yeah. So the objective was that because my mom passed away when I was 19, there was no money, there was no anything, there was no insurance, there was no, I had to leave the apartment, I didn't know where to go. So it's to tell the story for women who have children, to make sure that you have a will, to make sure that you understand that if you're working, that you have to have something left for your children. If you have to talk to them about what you want, if you pass away or you die, you have to have the conversation. A lot of my friends are like, why are you talking about that? Listen, if you don't talk about it now, there's just going to be, as Latinas, everybody in the funeral is like, where's the money? Or who's
Oh,
going
it's
to get
gonna be
this?
drama up in that
It's gonna be
piece.
drama. If it's
Oh,
the
it's gonna be
father, all
fights.
the children come in. That's my father. No, that's your
Ready.
father.
Like,
Who's
wait,
you?
who are you?
Who
Like,
are
wait,
you?
you stepped out? What? No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm
And
not gonna
people,
lie. There was a
and
story
that's
like that.
exactly what happened. The
Uh-huh.
whole family, you never had the conversation. Like, I knew a little bit about what my mother had in Dominican Republic, but it's just awkward. And everybody's so focused on all
Mhm.
this material things. And here I am like, wow, okay. No one's asking me how I'm doing. No one's asking me what am I doing. Oh shit, she's
Aw.
18. She's good. She got it.
Mm-mm-mm.
You know what I mean? So here I find friends who are like, I got you. Come on in, stay in my house. I got you. I got you a job. And then I went to strawberries, started working in strawberries, met a lot of people. And so yeah, the Salty Coffee podcast started the poetry contest in 2020. This one was our fifth one in 2024, and it was amazing. And I love it because it's growing. This was the first time that I actually told the story behind it. Like really got into it to tell people. Because when I started the podcast, my first episode was the story of my mom and how she died. And that
Oh,
was like, that took me months to record because to this day it's still like, like,
yeah, yeah.
and then, but yeah, so that's how the poetry contest started. The $200 this year was in conjunction with P2G Network as well. So people can get financial advice. Well, not financial advice, but financial literacy so that
Yes.
you can at least understand it. And that's why I had to get max it out.
I appreciate that. And I hope you liked it, but we'll talk about it,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah,
Well,
so
I would like to do something for the next poetry contest. I would like to donate the Magic Vibes workbook and also some coaching for your listeners, right? I am a women's empowerment and resilience coach, and so whatever your listeners are needing from me to help empower them, I would love to do that.
yeah, no, I definitely added you guys to my website because I
I saw,
already, yeah,
Oh, you did? I didn't see. I
yes,
gotta go check it
yeah,
out.
no,
I
I'm like,
saw.
so I gave your book, Brenda, to my daughter now. She's 31,
Oh.
so yeah, because I'm like, girl, you need to read
Awesome.
this right now.
Listen, I haven't even advertised it. Okay. So I have a funnel it's in the works. And so
Okay.
it's pretty much this close to being done because I'm also advertising an ebook. So I definitely, would love to donate the ebook for your listeners as well. So, to a contest winner. So
But
Yes.
yeah, so
I
that's
would
how
like
the
to do
poetry
that.
contest started. And I love it. I love it that the young little girl, and then at one point people were like, is it only women? I was like, no, men can join too, but it better be about your mom or something. So then I had Larry Johnston. He won The Evolving Man and his journey, and that was awesome. And then last year, Luna Goddess, she won. She's a singer, and she was amazing. She came in strong, and I'm like, yikes. I don't know how people are gonna vote, but clearly she's the winner.
I
But yeah,
loved her poem this time too. It was really great. I would actually like to join next time. You offered it to me and I thought about entering and I really haven't been as involved in poetry as I used to be. And you actually inspired me. I wrote a poem for the podcast, Babes, and that's part of why I wrote it. Because I was like, you know what? I do need to get back into poetry. There was a time where I was going through a really hard time and I just ate and slept poetry because that was one way that I really got my feelings out by reading poetry and writing poetry.
yeah,
So I love the fact that the poetry is involved in this tribute to your mother because it's so therapeutic,
it
right?
is. It is. And for me, like I'm not a writer like that. I'm a dancer. So that's how I express my emotions. And I was in a dance school when I was younger, ballet folclórico, Quisqueya,
Mhm.
and
Tenemos que
dancing with
bailar, entonces tenemos que bailar porque
merengue.
tú sabes eso. Dale, 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 tambora, tambora, percusión.
¡Huepa!
Exactly.
Don't
So
play. Let's do it,
yeah,
girl.
so dancing was my thing, but I think because uh, poetry month is April, so that's why I like to do it around that time.
Oh,
And I
that's
I
awesome.
think poetry is something that everybody can do. Like there's no wrong or right with poetry. I mean, if you starting to dance merengue and it looks like you're just like robot, kind of different. But I think and you're right, expressing your feelings in words, it's just amazing. It's an amazing thing. And even music, people who write music, it's poetry to me. It's like when you're reading the lyrics, it's pure poetry.
Yes. I think my
Yeah.
favorite one was actually If I Were the Devil because there's
Mm-hmm.
so many true and real things
It's
about
scary,
that.
right?
Yes. And
And his
yeah,
voice.
yes, it hit me on so many levels and I was like this person's a genius really for really putting it out there with art, but also it's a red pill.
With reality.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So good. So next year, hopefully, I will also join your poetry contest. I'm gonna start
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Thinking of ideas.
And that's the thing. Everybody's like, oh, well, I'm like, dude, this is like the fifth year. Like you should have known this by now. And it's very difficult when you're doing something like that by yourself because I have to do the voting, I have to do the
Mhm.
promoting, I have to do the registration, I have to make sure that your poetry is legit, I have to make sure that you write it. Miss Ruby is going to help the winner also to copyright, to learn how to copyright your writing. So that's not easy stuff to do all by yourself, but I did it all by myself.
Good
That's right.
job.
Wow.
Great job. And so I think one of the reasons that I really didn't enter, I've been working through this thing with like being seen, right? And getting like awards and accolades. So it's like writing poetry for a contest is like, oh, right?
Thank you for tuning in to Babes Unscripted. We hope you've enjoyed today's episode and found it both entertaining and insightful. If you want more unfiltered and unscripted conversations, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, don't forget to hit that bell icon to get notified when we post new episodes. Remember, life is unscripted, and we're here to embrace every moment of it with you. Until next time, stay unfiltered, stay authentic, and stay fabulous. This is your host, Brenda Paz, and Kat, signing off, Babes Unscripted. Bye now.